Scarab King, floor 100 hard Doom Tower. Can you beat him? Yes. What is going on, Raiders? Soda Dragon here, and today I'm going to show you two free-to-play friendly ways to beat Borgoth hard Doom Tower level 100. And we are definitely going to take advantage of the new skill instructions that we can input. So this really takes both comps into that full auto range. Before, they were more manual runs, which depending on how long the run is, could have been pretty painful. But now we're looking at full auto with these skill instructions. So first, we're going to look at Borgoth and his skills. Second, I'm going to give you two strategies to deal with him. And lastly, we're going to go over the champs, their masteries, and gear. So let's start with Borgoth's A1, Madness Fog. Attacks all enemies, places a 50% decreased attack debuff and a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. Places an extra hit on enemies that have no shield buffs. The extra hit places a provoked debuff for 1 turn. Damage based on attack. So the big thing to notice here, guys, is that all these debuffs are resistible. So that is definitely one route to go, the resistance route. On to Borgoth's A2, Vile Absorption. Attacks all enemies. Places an extra hit on each enemy for each buff on the target. Each extra hit steals 1 random buff from enemies that have no shield buffs and removes 1 random buff from enemies under shield buffs. Places a True Fear debuff for 1 turn on enemies who have buffs stolen, and a Fear debuff for 1 turn on enemies who have buffs removed. Damage based on attack. This is on a 3-turn cooldown. So Borgoth's A2, like his A1, does have those debuffs that are resistible. So at floor 100 hard Doom Tower, Borgoth's accuracy is 250. So in order to resist being debuffed, you need to have significantly higher resistance than the accuracy of the attacker. So if you could have 350 accuracy around that range, then that would be really good if you want to go the resistance route for dealing with Borgoth. On to Borgoth's first passive, Spectral Horror. Decreases the damage received according to how much Borgoth's max HP has been decreased by. Damage received is decreased by minus 90% if Borgoth's max HP has been decreased by less than 10%. Minus 60% if Borgoth's max HP has been decreased by between 10% and 20%. Minus 30% if Borgoth's max HP has been decreased by between 20 and 30%. Minus 0% if Borgoth's max HP has been decreased by more than 30%. So how do we deal with this passive? Well, there are a few ways. Firstly, you can just ignore it. So you don't need a destroy set or a character with decreasing enemy max HP to beat Borgoth. You do not need it. It's not a necessity, but it's a good idea. If you can bring a destroy set with you on at least one of your characters, it will significantly reduce your clear times. So though it's not absolutely necessary, it's actually pretty useful and practical. So definitely think about putting a destroy set on one of your characters at least. On to Borgoth's second passive, Easy Prey. Counterattacks when attacked by an enemy that has no shield buff. So how do we deal with this passive? Well, we're going to need to bring in shield champions. So these are either champions that can cast shields over the whole team or champions that self-cast shields. So for champions that cast shields over the whole team, the duration of the shield has to be equal to the duration of their cooldown. So if they're casting 2-turn shields, then they need to have a 2-turn cooldown on that to recast. So basically you need 100% uptime on those shields. So for example, certain champs can cast 2-turn shields with 2-turn cooldowns, and other characters can cast 3-turn shields on a 3-turn cooldown. So that's perfectly fine. What you cannot have is a 2-turn shield with a 3-turn cooldown because there's a gap there. Now you can extend the shields if you have a buff extender, but if you don't, you're going to need a champ that can cast shields that has an equal cooldown to that shield duration. So we'll talk about a few variations of people that you can use for that later. On to Borgoth's last passive, Almighty Immunity. Immune to stun, freeze, sleep, provoke, block active skills, block passive skills, fear, and true fear debuffs. Also immune to HP exchange effects HP balancing effects, and cooldown increasing effects. So how do we deal with this passive? Firstly, we cannot make Borgoth waste his turns, so we can't stun him, sleep him, fear him, anything like that. Secondly, we can't put his skills on cooldown, either active skills or passive skills. So what can we do? Well, it says nothing about speed reduction. So those speed reduction debuffs, definitely we can put them to use on Borgoth. So we can slow the rate that he builds up that turn meter. Secondly, turn meter reduction attacks. We can use them. Notice here, Borgoth does not even have that passive that a lot of Doom Tower bosses have that reduce the effects of those turn meter reduction attacks. He does not have that. That means if you have the accuracy on your characters to land those, they will land with 100% effect. So that is one way to deal with this passive. So what are our strategies to deal with Borgoth? Well, the first is going to be a turn meter reduction strategy. So we are never going to let Borgoth take a turn. So basically we're going to need multiple turn meter manipulators. Plus we're going to need someone for shields, really keeping that 100% uptime on the shield that we talked about. Plus someone to apply a decreased speed debuff on Borgoth. That's really important because he's fast. Unlike other Doom Tower bosses, he is very fast. So it is just going to be hard to keep up with him simply with pure stats. It's much easier for your team if you can have someone to put that decreased speed on Borgoth to lessen the speed requirements for your whole team really. So that is going to be the first strategy. The second strategy in a nutshell is Vizx. There's no other way to put it. No other champion is really tailor-made for the Scarab King like Vizx. Seriously, he can just solo it. If you have Vizx, that is your best bet, and I'll show you how to build him. But literally, instead of building a team of 5 to fight the Scarab King, for example, with our turn meter reduction strategy, if you have Vizx, you could just use him to solo the Scarab King. Hard Doom Tower level 100. All you need to do is build 1 champ instead of 5. So that is definitely the easier route to go if you have Vizx. If you do not and you have some turn meter manipulators, then that is another route to go as well. Alright guys, here is our turn meter manipulation team. So we got an uncommon, a rare, 2 epics, and a free-to-play legendary. So Metal Shaper here, what he does is he casts shields. Duration is 2 turns on a 2-turn cooldown. So he can keep 100% uptime on those shields. So whoever your shield champ is, they need to be the fastest on the team. So Armager here, he has that nice A1 when he crits, he decreases turn meter, so build him with crit rate. We have Allure on her A1. She decreases turn meter as well, but unfortunately, she's actually a bad affinity for Borgoth. So what this means is sometimes she will weak hit. What that means is she cannot be the sole turn meter decreaser on your team. She's gonna need backup, okay? So that's why we have Armager and we have Vizx. Vizx on her A1 decreases turn meter as well as pushing up her own. She is a turn meter manipulator. She can just do everything. She is awesome and she definitely helps through the waves. And we have Stag Knight here. He's probably the most replaceable of the team. Actually, a lot of people are. But we use him for his decreased speed. So it's really important before Borgoth takes his first turn, you decrease his speed. Okay, so this is what Stag Knight brings on his A1, strong version decreased speed. Alright guys, here is the second team and it is Vizx. Seriously. So all we're going to do is surround Vizx with characters that can safely get him to the boss. That is it. So just characters that can get him through the waves. It could be anybody, honestly. So really, whoever you want. If someone could bring a nice aura, that would be great. And I'll show you the team that I have. But it literally could be anybody, okay? We just need to get Vizx safely to the boss and he will take care of the rest. Alright guys, on to the champions. So firstly, we're going to look at our turn meter manipulation team. And after that, we're going to look at Vizx, alright? So here we have Metal Shaper, and his role really is for his A2 here. Now it does need to be booked, but when it is a 2-turn shield on a 2-turn cooldown. Now the size of the shield is irrelevant. So that's why you can really substitute in Metal Shaper with anybody. He puts up a really puny shield, but who cares? All we care about is 100% uptime on the shield. So when you get your Metal Shaper, you are going to need to book out this A2 to work. On to Metal Shaper's gear. So here I have him in a shield set and a speed set. So the shield set plus 30% HP ally shield for 3 turns, and speed set speed plus 12%. So once again, your shield champ needs to be the fastest person on your team. Now, is it necessary to put your shield champ in a shield set? No, it is not necessary. The only benefit for putting your shield champ in a shield set, or somebody on your team in a shield set, is it's more auto friendly. Because sometimes if you're going full auto, unfortunately, Metal Shaper will use his shield skill right before he gets to the boss. So when he gets to the boss, that skill is on cooldown, even a 2-turn cooldown. I mean, still, if he cannot cast it, he cannot cast it. If he has to wait 1 turn, everybody's gonna die, all right? So what this gives is flexibility for those auto runs, really. But having a shield set is not necessary, okay? So if you cannot get the speeds up with a shield set, it is completely fine. You're just gonna need to manual that wave 2 right before you get to Borgoth to make sure his A2, that shield skill, is not on cooldown and it's ready to use. On to Metal Shaper's total stats. So really all we care about is his speed. That is literally all we care about, okay? So stage 100 hard Doom Tower, Borgoth's speed is 225. Now, if you can get as many of your champs as possible to be faster than Borgoth, that'd be really good. But once again, your shield champ has to be the fastest in the team. So here we have him at 240 speed. This is literally the only stat we care about. Everything else is irrelevant. On to Metal Shaper's masteries, and he has none. He doesn't need it. All we care about is Metal Shaper's speed and his A2 being fully booked, so it's on a 2-turn cooldown. That is it. We do not need anything else from this dude. On to Armager, the uncommon. This dude is awesome. So why are we using him? Primarily for his A1, so when he gets a crit, he can decrease the turn meter of the enemy by 30%. So it is required that you build him with crit rate, but this guy is awesome. Just on his A1, decreasing turn meter 30%. That is absolutely awesome. So what gear do I have in my Armager? Armager is my destroy set champ. There's only one champ in my comp that has a destroy set, and it's good enough. If you want to use multiple champs, that's fine, but if you can have at least one, that would be good. Though a destroy set is not necessary to beat Borgoth, okay? It is not necessary. It will just help you out a lot with those clear times. So the destroy set decreases enemy max HP by 40% of the damage dealt, and an accuracy set plus 40 accuracy. So definitely you're gonna need a lot of accuracy to land your debuffs and decrease Borgoth's turn meter. So stage 100 hard Doom Tower, his resistance is 330. So you need to at least match that in accuracy. You don't necessarily need to go much higher. So in order to land debuffs, all you need to do is match the opponent's resistance. So if you can get around 330, or as high as you can, really that would be the best for consistently landing those debuffs on Borgoth. On to Armager's total stats. So here we have him at 29,000 health. Not really relevant since we're never going to take a hit. Attack is not relevant because his damage is based on defense. Defense here 2,000. Speed 229, so just a little bit faster than Borgoth, which is good. Get as many champs as you can faster than Borgoth. It's not a necessity, but it definitely helps. Crit rate 109, once again, in order to land that decreased turn meter on his A1, he's going to need to get a crit. So definitely build your Armager with as much crit rate as you can, 100%. So crit damage 137%, debuff resistance 154. Once again, we're not planning on getting hit, so this doesn't really matter. And lastly, debuff accuracy 413. A little bit overkill, but definitely with Borgoth, you don't want to take chances. Accuracy as high as you can, 330 or above. On to Armager's masteries. So I'm just going to highlight the most important one here, this tier 6 mastery, Eagle Eye. So plus 50 accuracy. So really important to get if you need that additional accuracy. But if you have significant accuracy, even without Eagle Eye, I would recommend taking War Master. So you're going to do a lot more damage with War Master, and your clear times should be faster because you're doing significantly more damage based off enemy max HP. But if you cannot get those accuracy numbers up to a comfortable level, then definitely go ahead and run Eagle Eye. So the next one up in our turn meter manipulation comp is Allure. So we are using her primarily for her A1 here. So attacks 3 times at random, decreases the target's turn meter by 25% on each critical hit. So this is just like Armager, where we really need crits. So you're gonna need to build your Allure with crit rate. But as I mentioned before, even with crit rate, Allure can weak hit Borgoth, okay, because of the affinity disadvantage. So sometimes she will not land any turn meter manipulation from her A1. She will get 3 weak hits. So it's really important, as I mentioned, to bring in multiple turn meter reducers in addition to Allure. If it wasn't for that, you could probably bring in Allure and 1 turn meter manipulator, or just 1 really fast Allure, to be honest, if it wasn't for that affinity disadvantage. So how have I geared my Allure? For now, it's basically just a perception set. You see, I have most of the pieces here for that Relentless set, but you cannot use Relentless on Borgoth, because if she procs extra turns, she's going to lose her shield. So you cannot use any champ for a turn meter manipulation strategy besides a self-shielding champ with this Relentless set. So if I'm using her for this boss, then I will break the set. And so basically you just have a perception set here. So I'm getting that increased accuracy because for that turn meter decrease to land, she's going to need that accuracy. On to Allure's total stats. So here I have her at 30,000 health. So good to have some health for the waves. Her attack is 3,400, which is once again nice for the waves, but not relevant for Borgoth. Defense is 2,200, speed 233. So once again, we're above Borgoth at 225. Crit rate 104, so over 100%, good. Crit damage 111%, debuff resistance 112, that's fine because we're not planning to get hit. And debuff accuracy 362, so once again, we've hit and exceeded that 330 target that we were looking for stage 100 Hard Doom Tower Borgoth. On to Allure's masteries. So here you can just copy and paste. I do use Allure for multiple areas in the game. Not just for Borgoth, I use it for Fire Knight and other places. But this is a pretty good set of masteries. Now here you notice I have the Eagle Eye because I do want that increased accuracy. Borgoth's resistance is really high, so I want to make sure I'm at that comfortable level above 330. But if you can already reach that without Eagle Eye, same thing with Armager, think about taking War Master. So that's going to increase your damage and definitely increase the speed of the run. So for me, I always take War Master. I don't take Giant Slayer because it forces me to go down a different path of the tree for the offense tree, and I've never seen any damage increase. So I would definitely say take War Master if you already have those accuracy stats. Alright guys, on to our next champ, and that is Stag Knight. So why are we using him in this comp? It is primarily for his A1 here, Spot Quarry. So what he's doing is he is putting with his A1 a strong version decreased speed on Borgoth. So this is a 2-turn decreased speed, and he has 50% chance per hit when booked, and he has 2 hits on his A1. So he's gonna land it if you have the accuracy. So this is the primary reason we're using him. His A2 is nice as well. You have the decreased attack and decreased defense, but they're not really needed. And also lead the pack is passive here, so he's going to increase the accuracy of anybody who attempts to place a debuff on Borgoth and gets resisted. So this is nice as well, but really it is this A1. Strong version decreased speed. This is why Stag Knight is really the most replaceable of the team. Alright guys, on to Stag Knight's gear. So I have him in a shield set and an immortal set, but to be honest, you can put him in anything. All we care about is Stag Knight's speed and his accuracy. So if you need to put perception sets on him, accuracy sets on him, speed sets on him, whatever, it doesn't matter. All broken sets, it doesn't matter. As long as he has the right speed and accuracy, you will be good. On to Stag Knight's total stats, and really what we care about is his speed right here. So we have 237, so above that 225 of Borgoth. And we have accuracy here at 348, so we're above that 330 resistance of Borgoth. So when we got those two things, we are good. On to Stag Knight's masteries, and you see I have not completed them. You don't have to. You don't need masteries on your decreased speed champ. Now, sure, it'd be nice to have, and if you want to do damage, you can get War Master. If you need the accuracy, go Eagle Eye, but it's not needed. So I can get my Stag Knight all the way up to the accuracy required and the speed required without those masteries. And because I can do that, there's really no need to finish out the masteries unless you want to. Alright guys, on to Vizx, another one of our turn meter manipulators. So she is absolutely awesome. And I did a champion guide on her. I will leave a link in the description below. But we are using her primarily for Borgoth for her A1. So each hit of her A1, it's a 2-hitter, decreases the turn meter of Borgoth by 15%. So in total, 30% turn meter decrease for her A1. Plus it boosts her own turn meter 30%. So that is definitely a net gain of 60% for her. Huge. She also has a really nice 3-turn AoE provoke, and she has a 3-turn strong version decrease speed AoE. So this is really nice. Now you might be thinking, well, can't Vizx work in both those roles as turn meter reducer and speed debuffer? And I'd actually say no, unless you build your team really fast. But if you have more moderate speeds, like maybe you're just barely outpacing the boss, your gear is okay, it's not insane, then chances are you will need Vizx to always do her A1 for that turn meter control. Remember, Allure can weak hit, and it's really important that Armager and Vizx here, they take up the slack if Allure gets some of those weak hits. So you will always need your Vizx to do that A1. So I would not recommend trying to use her for both that decreased speed debuff and turn meter reducer. Just stick with her A1 once you get to Borgoth. On to Vizx's gear. So here I have her in a regeneration set and an immortal set. So that regeneration set plus 15% healing every turn, and the immortal set plus 15% HP and 3% healing every turn. So really nice for an AoE provoker with such a short cooldown, because in the wave she will be taking a lot of hits depending on where you're using her. Just getting those hits from those provokes. So really useful to have some sort of regeneration for the health for your provokers. But as far as our fight with Borgoth, all you need is the accuracy. That is literally it. So you can put her in whatever sets that you want. She is a tanky girl. You can put her in a lot of different sets. Once again, we're really not worried about being hit. That is the strategy. We do not let Borgoth take a turn. So in a similar way with some of our other champs, we're really concerned about the speed and the accuracy. That's it. Now, if you're using her for different things, then yeah, you may be concerned with some of her other stats. But for Borgoth, all we want is the speed and the accuracy right. On to Vizx's total stats. So here we have her at 199 speed, which is not bad, but it is slower than Borgoth. So that is okay if you get early turn meter reduction from Borgoth, and that's going to be from our Allure. And you also get an early speed decrease debuff on Borgoth. So that is going to be our fast Stag Knight. So you can use characters that are slower than Borgoth, but you're going to need to make sure to reduce that turn meter and put that slow speed debuff on Borgoth early. So that's going to help out with a lot of your slower characters. But speed 199, it works. She's pretty tanky overall in general. So 348 for the accuracy. So we definitely want her to land that decreased turn meter on her A1. That is like the main reason we're using her. So once again, we're looking at 330 and above. So 348, pretty good. All right, guys, we are done with the turn meter manipulation part of our comp. Now we are turning our sights on the second comp, which is the Vizx comp. And who do we need? We need Vizx. That's it. So guys, I definitely recommend if you have him, use him. He is better than that turn meter manipulation comp. Why? It's easier to build 1 than 5. Instead of building a whole team, all you need to build is one person. And it's really not that hard, honestly. And I'll show you my build for him, but it's not that bad. So I definitely recommend building him if you have him. Or if there's a 10x event, absolutely pull for him if you like doing Doom Tower. Now, if you don't care about Doom Tower, I mean, that's fine. But if you like doing Doom Tower, then really it's important that you get Vizx. So if there's ever a 10 times event for him, definitely pull for him. All you need are those blue shards, because he is not a void, okay? He is only an epic, not a void. So definitely worth it in any sort of 10 times event. So why is Vizx so good? Well, he, like other champions, is a self-shielder. He can cast shields on himself. But what is unique about Vizx that really no legendary has that I know of is that his self-shielding ability does not have a cooldown. So certain people, they can cast shields on themselves like Duchess, Madame Ceres, but they need to take turns to do so. Vizx does not. He does not need to take any sort of turn whatsoever to self-cast that shield. All he needs to do is take a hit that's more than 10% of his max health. Okay, so even an attack that hits him 3 times, a single attack that hits him 3 times, if each of those 3 hits takes more than 10% of his health, then every single hit he will cast a new shield. There is no cooldown. He will always be left with a shield if he's hit hard enough. Doesn't matter if it's a multi-hit attack. Every single hit on that multi-hit, he's going to cast a new shield if that multi-hit is hard enough. And for Scarab King, it is. All his hits are hard. So he's going to be casting multiple shields with no cooldown, which no legendary that I know of has, or no other character in the game really. And also he casts continuous heal on himself, which is super awesome. So yes, it is good to put some sort of like a regen set on him in addition to a destroy set, but it is not necessary because he's also casting a strong version continuous heal on himself. So he is so tailor-made for the Scarab King, it's ridiculous. So definitely, like I said, if you have him, use him. If you see a 10x event and you like doing Doom Tower, you need to pull this guy. This guy's passive is unlike anybody else's in this game, legendary or otherwise, okay? And he is a perfect match for the Scarab King. So what gear do I have on my Vizx? As you guys have probably guessed, it is a destroy set, so decreases enemy max HP by 40% of the damage dealt. Is destroy sets necessary to beat the Scarab King? No, they're not. So I ran Vizx before in all immortal sets and it was fine. It just takes a lot longer. So it's up to you. If you don't have a good destroy set, that is fine. Use other sets. But also an immortal set here, so extra HP plus he is healing a little bit, 3% every time he takes a turn. Alright guys, on to Vizx's total stats. So here I have him at 49,000 health. The health is actually really important. Make sure to pump up the health as much as you can. Attack isn't relevant. Defense 2700, pretty good. So if you have to choose between health or defense, always choose health. But of course both is good. Speed 222, I'm actually slower than Borgoth, but there are some cheats that we can do to actually become faster than Borgoth, which we'll talk about. Crit rate 41% and crit damage 115%, not too relevant for us. Debuff resistance 383, so Borgoth's accuracy, stage 100 hard doom tower, is 250. So in order to resist debuffs, you need to get your resistance significantly higher than the accuracy of your attacker. So if you can get 350 or above, that's pretty good. So right now I have 383, so he doesn't steal anything from me. Now he does chip away at the shields with damage, but he doesn't steal anything from me, especially those continuous heals. I do not want him to steal those. And we have accuracy here at 90, which is not relevant for this character. On to Vizx's mastery. So here I do have him in War Master, so it actually makes a real big difference in the runtime if you can fit War Master in. So definitely if you can, try to fit it in. If you're having trouble with resistance, you could always go unshakable here, so plus 50 resistance. So this is definitely an option if your gear is not giving you the resistance numbers that you want. Now I mentioned cheats for speed, so here's one of those cheats. It is Spirit Haste, so increases speed by 8 for each dead ally, stacks up to 24. I want all my allies dead because I want that plus 24 speed. So that makes me faster than Borgoth. So once I get to Borgoth, I want to solo him. Okay, that makes the run much faster because less people are doing their animations and taking turns. So one-on-one is much better. So I actually want everyone to die by the time I get to Borgoth or early on in the fight. But all they're doing, the rest of the team, is carrying Vizx to Borgoth. And from then on, it is one-on-one. And when everyone dies, I get this bonus in speed. Alright guys, on to the team presets. Now, firstly, we're going to start with our turn meter reduction team. With Allure here, really all I want her to use is Psychic Whip. That is it. Now, you can still manual and use all their skills, but once we get to Borgoth, this is all I want her to use. So make sure you turn off her other skills. All you want is that A1 Psychic Whip for that turn meter reduction. So Armager as well, all you want is the A1, that turn meter reduction. That is all, okay? Stag Knight, he's just normal. Because he does have the cooldown on Huntmaster, which is that decrease attack, decrease defense. It's fine if he uses it occasionally. He's definitely going to land that A1 a lot. So it's fine if you just put him on normal. Metal Shaper, you do not want his heal. It's not a bad thing to use in the waves if you manual, but definitely want to turn off his heal and just keep him on that shield, Fortified Steel. And lastly, Vizx, turn off all her skills except her A1. All you want her to do is that turn meter reduction on her A1. So once you get your team set up like this, you are good to go. The way I usually run is I go through the waves manually, and I will set up the first maybe round or turn with the boss once we get to him, and then that's it. It's full auto from there. But technically, if you have someone in the shield set, you can just go full auto from the start. But for me, I just like to manual at first until everything is nice and good, and then start the auto. All right, guys, next the Vizx comps. So who are we using with Vizx? Once again, anybody that can get him to the boss safely. That's it. Literally anybody you got. A few things, make sure if you have a reviver on your team, you turn off their revive. You do not want them to keep on reviving people, okay? Especially a tanky reviver. That's going to extend the length of the run because they have to work through all those animations of those other characters. All you need is Vizx. So if you're bringing in a reviver, turn off their revive. So really with the characters that I have here, all I'm concerned with is Vizx and turning off his A2, this ally protection, because this is what kills him. This A2 is what prevented people from using really a full auto comp for Vizx. Because if anybody was left with him once they got to the boss, before these skill instructions, Vizx would put on his A2 ally protection and then he would die. So now we can simply turn that off. So really from the very moment, once you press start, it is full auto. You don't need to do anything. The only reason it wasn't before was, as I mentioned, this A2 would come on at the worst times, especially when you're facing the Scarab King. So if you have that, you're good. Everyone else, you can just keep as normal, except for a reviver. Like I said, turn off the revive. So that is it. And as I mentioned as well, make sure to put somebody in that lead spot with an aura that is helpful to you. So if you need a resistance aura or you need a speed aura, whatever, make sure to put a person in that can give you that bonus with the aura. Alright guys, that is it for today. I hope this has been helpful to you in giving you some ideas about how to beat the Scarab King. And as you guys saw, I didn't use any crazy legendaries or anything like that. The only one I used was one you get by logging in. So not too bad, right? So hopefully this will help you get through the hard Doom Tower. And if you guys haven't yet, go ahead and like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.